So hello, everyone. It's great to see you here. My name is Toluwani Akaehomen, and I'm the founder and executive director at HerGenuityAfrika. Now, of course, we are an organization that supports and promotes entrepreneurship and business leadership among females of African descent and females of immigrant background that are resident here in Ireland. So I want to really welcome you to this mastermind session. Now, it's going to last up till 11:30. This is just after 10, and it's for about an hour and a half. So today I have Hope Okeny with me, but before I introduce her, let me tell you what the mastermind session is really about. So the mastermind session, or the mastermind network, is something that HerGenuityAfrika actually developed out of. It's research-based, it's evidence-based, and that is because entrepreneurs want to network with other people by way of peer-to-peer support. They're looking for other entrepreneurs to share with, to learn from, to engage with, and to grow their network through. So this is essentially a share and learn peer-to-peer time. So anytime we meet here, we are rubbing minds, we are learning together, we are sharing, and we're ensuring that we go away with something tangible that will inspire us, motivate us, and help us grow our businesses. So once again, I want to say thank you very much and welcome. So Hope is somebody that is very dear to me. I met Hope 2010. I met Hope in 2010 when I went to Uganda for a documentary, and we've remained friends ever since. Hope is a social entrepreneur. She is a humanitarian. She is somebody who has invested significant parts of our time and life in building the lives of other people, other women and men through health in Uganda. So it's my pleasure this morning to welcome you, Hope, to have you in the room. Thank you very much for coming in. And to every one of us here this morning, I want to thank you. I know people are still going to join us, but in fact, I've gone beyond my own principle of waiting actually even for 10, 15 minutes. Normally, I start right on time. It doesn't matter if it's one person in the room, because we have to cater to principles. We are business people. And so that principle of honoring time has to be something that we value highly. So I want to welcome you all again into the room. And we're going to start off this way. I just have about 15, 20 minutes to chat with you about exploring next levels before I get Hope to start talking about doing business in Uganda. Now, exploring next levels is really about my own thoughts and learnings about how we reposition ourselves in a global world as business owners, particularly of African descent. So I'm going to share a few slides with you and talk to the slide. Nothing much on the slide, just the notes I've made. But I hope that you can be reminded, because a lot of these things I'm going to say are things that you already know, but some it might be new learning for you. But whether it's new learning or a reminder, I'd like you to take away something that is practical from this session. So I'll do about 20 minutes of presentation on exploring new levels. And then I hand over to Hope, and then she'll do about another 30 minutes. And then we'll have a whole half an hour to discuss, ask questions, put forward our thoughts, and see what action plans we are taking away from this session on this Mastermind Network session and on doing business in Uganda. We're hoping that we can spread our wings beyond our local base and really take on a new level in 2024. So I'm going to start sharing my screen. I hope that, please do let me know if you see what I'm sharing. So screen share, where are you? Okay, there it is. Can you see what me sharing? Can you see? Please let
Yes,
me know if you can see.
Screen.
Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you. And please do remember to put your questions in the chat box or your comments. We'll definitely be welcoming your comments and your questions. Okay, so really, when I think about exploring next levels, for me, and I'd like to know what it is for you as well. And if you can put that in the chat box, that would be nice. I actually forgot to ask people where they're from. So if you can also put where you're from in the chat box so we know which country that you are dialing in from or you're calling in from, that would be great. So when I think about next levels, I'm really looking at the fact that very quickly, and we've said it so many times, we are now in a world that is a small village. You agree with me? It's a small village. But increasingly, since COVID, it's like we have even become a smaller world. And people are they're connecting left, right, and center. There's so much going on in the business world. There's so much going on everywhere. And sometimes it could seem as if, where do I fit in? Or how do I fit in into all that is going on around me? And how do I leverage on it? So for me, it's really about positioning or repositioning ourselves for a market that's become so global, but still very small. So I'll be sharing my thoughts on that. So for me, I started to evaluate the current strategy that I have. So right now, the strategy that I base my business on is on knowledge, is dissemination of knowledge, not so much on price, but in engaging new markets with the knowledge that I have. So it's very much knowledge-centered, and it's very much unique, tailored services for specific audiences, specific markets. So I haven't actually been developing the things that I have, the products and services that I have out there for the market. So I've been really tailoring it all through the years and linking up with specific clients and ensuring that I'm delivering to specific clients what their specific needs are. But now I'd like to encourage us. I don't know what your own underlying strategy is, but it's important for us as we look at exploring new levels, next levels. What would be the next level for you? Or rather, what kind of strategy do you think that your business needs for the next level? What would actually be the next level for you? And then what do you think your business needs in terms of strategy? So right now, it's important for us to evaluate if we think that we actually need to explore next levels, evaluate the current strategy that we have. So I attempted a strategy definition there of evaluations of strategy, and it's referring to the process by which a business determines how it is effective and how it has the ability to reach its future goals. So it actually needs us to measure the extent to which we have been effective in the previous year, and then how does that effectiveness, how do we carry it forward? How are we resourced? How are we competent to reach our future goals? So that is very important. And as I said, I'd like to get your comments in the chat box on what strategy you are currently adopting. Are you seeing that you want to keep honing in on that strategy, or are you wanting to look at your market again with a different strategy? So evaluate how you are doing business at the moment, how you are competing in the current market, what kind of strategy you're adopting. Is it based on price? Is it based on, delivering economies of scale, where you have so many things out there for different people, and it's about, for one of a better economies. You have a lot, you're producing for the mass market, right? So what kind of strategy are you using there? I also realized that when in talking to a lot of entrepreneurs, I realized that one of the areas in which we fall down is that we don't understand the language of finance. We don't understand the language of money. That apart from actually, in fact, some of us don't even know how to do our cash flows, our budgets, and all of that for our businesses. How do we master the language of money? It's money we want to make. It's money we are about making. For some of us, I know some of us are social enterprises, and that money mightn't be your key goal. But whether money is your key goal or not, you still have to make money. And you still have to understand how money is made. And you have to understand how you interact with money when you're talking to different stakeholders. How do you talk the language of money when you're actually sourcing for money? Different stakeholders, right? Now, running with HerGenuity, I realized that, okay, I could actually approach people who have an interest, a passion for supporting female entrepreneurs of African descent, of immigrant background. Maybe there are people out there that are actually interested in supporting what we do, in putting money down to help us get to where we need to go to, who are philanthropists or who are investors. But the point is, if I cannot determine what is the return on investment for them, even by talking to them, and they ask me questions on finance I cannot really answer, then I am not doing, in fact, they won't take me seriously. They'll say, is this one in business or is this she joking? So I realized that a lot of us that are in business do not actually, unless maybe you studied finance, we don't actually understand the language of finance, the language of money. We don't understand how to price our products. There's so many things that we need to learn, right? What does a financial statement mean? And when we are presented with it, how do we actually analyze it? So those kind of things are things that I think that we need to brush up on in order to position ourselves in a new year to expand into a market that is becoming increasingly small, but still very much global. Yes, so lifelong learning. I think that the best investment I can make in myself is, or I can make in my business, is actually in myself. Because I realize that what I'm selling is not product or services. I'm actually selling myself. I'm actually selling my knowledge. The people pay me not for what I do, they pay me for what I know. And that is maybe, that's a different kind of market, or maybe a higher level kind of market, I do not know. But for me, I want people to continue to pay me for what I know. And that means, because products and services are easily replicable. But when you are investing in yourself and you're a lifelong learner, then it would definitely, without doubt, translate into the business that you do, the products you offer, in fact, the kind of products that you come up with, how more innovative you become, because you are learning, and as you're learning, you are sharing that knowledge, you are helping other businesses, other people, you are growing them, and you're doing significant things through what you know. And in fact, you're able then to measure impact even more, because you are investing significantly in yourself. So the main point is, I believe strongly that the best investment you can make in your business is in yourself. Because we are not in fact, every one of us here is either a micro or a small business. And for a micro or small business owner, the person that is most operational in the business is you. So you are the one that brings the sum of your skills, your competencies, everything into the business. So you are the one that's supposed to take a lot more of the investment, ensuring that you're learning what you need to learn to move on to the next dimension. Okay, evaluating standards and quality. When we were during the entrepreneurship summit, and we had, I think it was Caroline's session, where they were talking about transnational trade, one of the key points that Killian Stokes, who is the CEO of Proudly Made in Africa, one of the points that he made, apart from pricing products, was the fact that products from people of African descent, particularly on the continent, maybe even all of us, but he was talking about products coming in from Africa. A lot of the products fall down because they don't meet the standards, international standards. So even though we are quite innovative, we have solid products that the world wants, but the standard is not at par with what is required, what the European standards. And so we are not able to actually meet that. We're not able to actually compete or be competitive at the global front. And that is one thing I'd like us to look at. I and a few entrepreneurs, we went for a dinner engagement during Christmas, and we thought, oh, listen, why don't we patronize one of our own rather than going, to a Chinese restaurant or an Irish restaurant? Let's go African. And we did. But I can tell you that the feedback that came from every one of us following that experience was not the best. Let me just leave it that way. It was not the best, right? So please just give me just 1 second. My apologies for that break in transmission. So the truth of the matter is that while we were all excited about going African, we were not excited about our experience. In fact, I can tell you that using the ladies was a no-no for me. I carried my business home and I had to drive 1.5 hours. That is how low the standard was, right? And I'm thinking, my thinking was, if it would have been nice to have maybe 1, 2, 3 places that we could suggest to during, when they have Easter parties, Christmas parties, suggest to these multinationals and say, oh, why don't you go African, right? That was my thinking. But after that experience, I realized that, don't do that. You are going to cause undue trouble for your community. Don't do it. Because we are not there yet. So to the point, I began to evaluate myself. I don't sell food, but I sell services. And I began to see if people actually were going to evaluate my services, how would they rate me? How would they rate my customer service? How would they rate my approach? How would they rate my after-sales service? How would they rate me? So while we might consider ourselves to be excellent, I think we need to be pushing for outstanding, because people are becoming, the business world is so competitive that people are pushing for excellence. So if we have to remain competitive, we have to go beyond excellent. If we are going to stand out, we have to go to outstanding. Then I'm asking myself, what are the top 3 things? And this is my question to myself. What are the top 3 things that I need to do to make my business outstanding, to make my services outstanding, to bring people coming back to me, or even calling my name, or even wanting to talk about me on social media? And I'll give you another example before I go off this point. My friend and I went to Slovakia, and we were so hungry, and I'm not a pizza person, but we were so hungry, nothing to, so let's stay and eat this pizza. We just got off the road, and we decided to go to that pizza place. The pizza was so good. The service was so good. Everything was so good that I went on Google reviews, or what do you call it? Google, and I began to talk about them, right? The Google sent me a message that I got my comment had got about, I think, 500 reviews, 500 views. They didn't ask me to. They didn't ask me to. I remember also going to France, and it was such a good experience, such a beautiful experience, that I took my husband the next time with my children, and we went to the same place. And it was, what am I saying? They didn't ask me to do. I went online again, and I talked and talked about them. I called names because they made a difference. So we need to see how, if we are going to take our businesses beyond Africa, beyond our own ethnic enclave, because usually what we do is that we feel very comfortable buying and getting our own people to buy from us, getting our own people to patronize us, to be our patrons. So we are very comfortable because they understand the market, they're our people. But how can we ensure, how can we bring our services, our standards, and our quality to the point where we can very confidently engage with a different market for our products and services? We bring it to international standards. So I move on. Okay. So also diversifying our revenue generating streams. And I know this is something that we all know. So I'm reminding us, what else can we do to bring more money into our business? What else can we do? Is it possible for us to get a group together, a group of friends, a group of other business owners? And that's part of the things we're going to do in the Mastermind Network, to bring people together and brainstorm with them. Help them to get them to understand your business, get them to understand your strategy, get them to understand your business model and your current revenue generating model, and then let them brainstorm with you. How else can I make money? What other areas can I explore? What other things is happening in the world that I can do? What other needs are there? How can I know what needs are there that I can tap into again and deliver my service or my product into that market? How can I diversify my revenue generating stream? And you see, I think we need to be people that plan for the kind of world that we had during COVID, a VUCA world, very volatile, quite unstable, right? Quite complex, quite ambiguous. Okay, there's so many things we can't predict. And a lot of businesses haven't yet recovered from COVID because it was one way. So because they were one way, it was, and because they didn't have the flexibility to pivot when COVID came, they lost out. So it makes good business sense for us to not just look at one way in which our businesses serve, or one way or one market, but also look at other avenues, other streams of revenue that we can generate for our businesses. Entering the digital revolution. We are hearing now about I always call it wrong. I always say chat GPT. I can see my PA laughing. Bukola is laughing at me. Chat GPT, right? There is Google Bard, Google BARD. It's what's it called? It's a rival, kind of. I don't want to say rival, but equivalent to Chat GPT. But how do we enter the digital revolution to support the growth of our businesses? How do we develop more efficient ways of doing business? How do we save on time and resources? You don't have the resources for this and this and that. But maybe technology, if you engage a little bit better with technology, maybe you can have access to those resources that will allow you to leverage, that will allow you to milk what is existing out there already. So, and that might mean, back to my third or fourth point, that might mean you investing in yourself, doing some self-investment, and also becoming a lifelong learner. I'm going to leave it there for now. I believe that I've tried to condense what I want to say, because I'm conscious of the fact that I want to give Hope a lot more time to speak than myself. But I really want us to look at having a mindset of all in when we are doing our business. Because when we have other things that are pulling at our attention, that's apart from, like, if you have other jobs that are fetching you money, and I get it, right? We have different models of entrepreneurship, or different approaches. So you can be part-time entrepreneur and full-time worker, or part-time entrepreneur and part-time worker. You can decide to do it any way you want. However, for the time that you have said, okay, I'm doing this business, it has to be an all-in approach. Otherwise, there's no point. There's no point, because your customers can trust you that they'll find your products or services there when they need to have it. They can't trust you that you'll give them the outstanding service they deserve, because you have many other options. So I want to encourage us to think about, how do I reposition myself for a global market? How do I leverage on what is already existing out there? How can I leverage on the network that I have? How do I build more my social capital? And I think I have that point left, but I'm just going to leave it. How do I build more on the social capital that I have? When I looked at LinkedIn, a lot of us have many contacts. We have so many contacts. If you do an evaluation of the contact that you have, how many of them are actually useful to you? And I use that word quite loosely. How many of them would be really beneficial to you in terms of, and you can call social capital, and how many people are you beneficial to, that you can support what they are doing and help them grow? So you need to look also at your professional network. What am I leveraging on what I have out there? Who are those I have out there that have the knowledge, the skills, the competencies to help me take my business to the next level? And don't be afraid to ask. So I'll leave it there. Thank you very much for taking the time to listen. I look forward to whatever questions you have before I, let me stop sharing. Before I let Hope into the room. Bear with me, and it's not allowing me to stop sharing. Okay, he said thank you, and that's it. Okay. Right. Right. Yes, thank you very much. Indeed, we need to leverage on professional network. Thanks, Gladys. A friend of mine introduced me to a really good coach, whom I probably may not have been able to afford by myself, but she gave me an assignment. And this was about 2 years ago. She said, go to your LinkedIn and map all the people that you know. Map them in terms of those who are lower than you in cadre, as in, you know, your ranking. Then go to the next level, are those that are peers, you know, your peers. And then go to those that are above you in ranking. And then she said that will help you determine the value of your social capital, you know. And I did that exercise, and I was shocked at what the result was. If we have to take our businesses, ourselves to another level, I think we should be looking at those who are above us, or those who are our peers who have connections that are above us, right? And then we make ourselves obviously available to support those who are beneath us. And I use that word loosely as well. Please pardon me. Those who are beneath us in terms of ranking, because then we will be able to help them. But they might not be able to help us as much unless they drop our names in the right places among their own superiors. So when we are, and this is not any narcissistic way, because it might seem narcissistic when you think about it that way. But the truth of the matter is that every aspect of strategy, and maybe life, every aspect of life and business is about strategy. That you're thinking, you'll be very deliberate, very intentional about the things that you do and how they feed into your future goals and your aspirations. So thank you very much once again. May I ask that we just even show our faces? I mean, even to show your faces, it would be nice. Even to use it to welcome Hope, who is far away. Even if you are in Kenya, it doesn't matter if you're in East Africa. It doesn't matter. Hope is in the room. Can you please show your faces so that, oh, we have people in the car. It's great to see everybody. I know that people have made, they really wanted to be here, so it is great to have you. So I'm going to introduce again, or rather I'm going to welcome, because I'd introduced Hope previously. I'm going to welcome Hope again. Thank you very much, Hope, for joining us. We are really interested. We are keen to hear about how to do business in Uganda, because this year I'm hoping that people will break forth out of their comfort zones and their own enclaves and actually do something. That's fine, Coach Atinuke. That's perfect. So people can actually break into their own, break out of their comfort zone and try something new. There's a lot of value in doing something different, and all being able to leverage on the network that we have in this forum. Okay, over to you, Hope.
Yeah, Tolu, just before we welcome Hope, and we're really looking forward to listening to her, you've made a point about bringing quality to the table, because it's like you've said, there's great value in us networking, in opening doors for each other, in dropping our names in places that it wouldn't be hard, in bringing the community together and soaring together and winning together. But indeed, just like you've said, we must bring quality to the table so that if you show up at the restaurant like you did, then that social capital that you carried there in huge volumes and high net worth does not then turn away and run in the opposite direction. So this is a call to action for us as Africans, as those of African descent, to truly put quality on the table. We need to show up and show up strong. I've really taken that point home. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It struck me so much that time myself. It struck me. And one of the things that I suppose made me sad was that we're often very quick to be judgmental when people of other nationalities, and especially for us who live in the diaspora, when they don't engage with us to the extent that we want, or when they don't give us opportunities that we think that we are qualified for. But the truth of the matter is, sometimes we really need to look inwards and become the kind, and try to become the kind of people that cannot be ignored. There's something about the fact that you brought yourself, you had such a high standard that you can't be ignored. And people don't actually see what color or whatever you are. They're just impacted by what you bring to the table, and it cannot be ignored. And I think we need to be a people like that, rather than excusing ourselves lazily by saying, oh, they're not giving me a chance because of this, because of that. Because the truth of the matter is that those things actually, they have been there. They may continue to be there. There's really nothing. Sometimes you can't, as much as we say racism, it's been there, but there are some people that, regardless of racism, they can't be ignored. And it's not as if we are trying to overdo. It's because we are, as people of African descent, her genuity. We are people that cannot be ignored. It's in our DNA. So why are we not living to that extent where we are outstanding in what we do? We put in that effort. And it taught me a lot, because now I cannot even say I want to full chest, as we say Africa, full chest. I can't full chest recommend anyone right now within my own network that is in the food business say, oh, okay, can you bring your Christmas party to that restaurant because you're guaranteed first class service? I can't. I'm sorry, I can't. And it is what it is. But thanks very much for that point. Okay, is anybody else making a comment or you have a question before Hope comes in? Sekabaya? Anyone? Okay, we're going to leave it there and we're going to let Hope come in. Hope, over to you.
Thank you so much. And thank you so much for your deliberations, Dr. Praise. I have not yet got an opportunity to call you a doctor. We haven't talked in a while. So, ladies and gentlemen in the house, I might not see any pictures, but I know there might be one gentleman in here. It's my privilege. Good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are. And it's my privilege to be sharing with you about doing business in Uganda. We will talk more about it later, but I just wanted to go back to a point that you mentioned, Praise, about standards and why are we not getting there? What can we do so that we are not ignored? I personally think we don't do enough. I think those who are really good at what they're doing have invested, have researched, and have put in enough time. And I think those are some of the things that we don't do enough to get there. And I hope that with these kind of discussions, we will continue to improve because, we have to get there. We have no choice. I mean, we are entrepreneurs and you want your business to be the best. So what do you have to put there? So about myself, I'm a public health practitioner. I'm also a seasoned social entrepreneur. I'm a bit of both because I do business and I also do social enterprises. So I'm kind of balanced in that aspect. And I've been doing this for over 15 years now, analyzing businesses. For those who may not know so much, I run an organization that is not for profit. We address healthcare in the communities in northern Uganda. And I'll share a lot more about that later on, but I thought today we are going to delve into how to do, what to do in Uganda if you wanted to do business with us here. I'm going to talk more about the business environment and I'll start sharing my screen now. Forgive me if I don't do it well because this is, okay, can you see my screen now? Can you see my screen now? Okay, good. Yes, so I'll talk about that now and talk about myself more later. Why do you want to do business in Uganda? For those who have not visited Uganda, I thought I'll share a small script. It's a 2 minutes video and I hope it can come up.
Every making day is a reminder just how beautiful this, our land, truly is. The kind of beauty that you can only find here. In the lush green all around us and the wondrous sights within. It's what you feel in the gentle caress of tropical wind from the mountaintops. And the glow in your heart from a warm neighborly invite. In the distinct aroma of our cooking, to the taste of food that takes you on a journey. In the sound of homecoming and the sound of Mother Earth. In the magnificence we find on our travels and the exciting moments we experience. Ours is the kind of beauty that comes in all things big and small. All we have to do is awaken our senses and truly enjoy what's uniquely ours.
Well, I hope you enjoyed this short video about Uganda. And now, how many of you are getting inspired to come to Uganda from this short video?
Absolutely.
Am I being
Beautiful.
heard? Okay.
It's
You
beautiful.
can hear me? Okay.
Yes, we can.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that short clip. It was really just to show you how beautiful Mother Africa is. I believe it's not only Uganda that's beautiful, even other parts of Africa is just as beautiful. The areas that I want to discuss today are going to be about the environment of businesses. What is their foreign investment case about? What does it take to set up a business? What are the taxation laws in Uganda? And how can HerGenuityAfrika in Uganda support you if you wanted to do business? What are those business opportunities you'll get when you come to Uganda?
Or Uganda.
Oh, sorry. Just 1 minute, please. Apologize. I might have to use the other. I apologize. I'm kind of not very familiar with this gadget, and unfortunately, I have to use it, but we'll get there. So the official language in Uganda is English. We speak English here, and our population is 48.5 million. Our GDP is 45.6 US dollars in billions. Uganda is a republic of Uganda. It's a republic state. And I thought I would start this off with a quote from one of the entrepreneurs in South Africa who said that at every African's heart is an entrepreneurial spirit. And I think this is really what we are here for, that we are survivors of struggle, malleable enough to embrace change and celebrate doing things differently. And I really think this is exactly what you were, my previous speaker was talking about. What are the things that we can do that can make us different? And I think this augurs with what you had just shared. In our spirit, we are entrepreneurs. And I know that for most of you who may be living in diaspora, you know that in Africa, it's all about struggle. We call it hustling. And yet the word hustling really should not be what we say, but we struggle to get there. A typical African woman wakes up early in the morning. You are a mother, you're a wife, you are doing some business. Maybe it's in the market or it's a shop. You're a trader, but you are moving around to just make that money that can build up your family or even the clan. And sometimes the African spirit is in all of us. And I tell you, it is in all of us. That's the reason why we are here today. I thought I would share that with you. Uganda at a glance, it has a diverse ethnic group. Of course, coming from a colonial legacy, we still have those post-independence, issues, talking about the education and, still hanging on to where we came from. What are we still doing that is different from what the colonials have left us? We have a very good weather here in Uganda, and we boast of a very rich cultural diversity. We have very strong family bonds. We are predominantly Christian and some Islam as well. Uganda is also a very youthful population comprising of over 75% who are under 15 years of age. Coupled with our educational improvements and then the vibrant traditional practices like dance and music, we have abundant opportunities. We are a very warm country, very hospitable, and we have very diverse cuisine. Like the video that you just watched, we have several dishes like the matoke, the Rolex, that now has become international. You get visitors coming and they're asking for a Rolex, and we are proud to say that that seems to be our trademark. And that is basically chapati and egg roll. But that makes us unique. Like I said, we are very welcoming people. Uganda is also called the Pearl of Africa, and this goes back in the colonial times, and that was said by one of the prime ministers of Britain, Winston Churchill, who called Uganda the Pearl of Africa. And so with that information, Uganda currently is one of the fastest growing countries in terms of economies in the world. Okay. So why do we have that diverse environment that makes us attractive and makes us grow that fast? It's what policies that this government, I believe, has put in to enable foreign investment. And like I said, we are a country with a very rich resources. We have recently recovered oil, and then there are also substantial quantities of mineral deposits. It's a very fertile country with very regular rainfall, warm temperatures throughout the year. And so agriculture is one of our economic backbones, with more than 72% of the country's labor force engaged in this sector. The government has enabled very effective macroeconomic policies, and so that has allowed and maintained economic growth. It has also accelerated regional cooperation within not only East Africa. We are now going to the Southern Bloc and what they call the COMESA, that is the Common Market for Eastern and Southern Africa. And we are now going to the rest of Europe through the European Union. And so we are seeing the industrial sector also growing stably and contributing towards the GDP. Politically and socially, the country is very stable, and this has been there since 1986. The government has also totally liberalized foreign exchange regime. So this enables investment in this country to grow. I would also like to speak about the reforms that government has enabled to allow opportunities for investors when they come to this country. One of it is the regulatory reforms, streamlining bureaucratic processes, And so when you are coming to invest in this country, the reforms enable you to register without too much red tape. The other opportunity is that access to finance has become easier for investors who are collaborating through different financial bodies, for example, the Uganda Development Bank and several credit guarantee schemes. We also have a network of infrastructural developments, significant road development networks, the energy sector, the ICT, all these have been improved so that business operations can grow and foster the economic growth. The government has also enabled legal reforms, like I said earlier, investment or promotions through an authority that is called the Uganda Investment Authority that offers support, information, and incentives. And so anybody who would want to come, HerGenuity, we are now able to direct you to these offices and fast track your registration of the businesses and enable you to be able to start up without too much red tape. Uganda, of course, now is collaborating regionally. We now have the East African community, which includes Kenya, Tanzania, Rwanda, Southern Sudan, Burundi, and several others. And of course, like the COMESA that I mentioned, this enables an investor to open to other countries as well as your business is growing. What can you do as an African woman in the diaspora who is looking to invest in Uganda? I decided to limit the priority sectors for investment, especially so that we can leverage on the areas that we are already engaged in. And I looked at the sectors that are currently growing faster than the rest. And I looked at 6 sectors, and that is the agribusiness, information, communication, and telecom, tourism, health, education, and service. And under agribusiness, there is so much opportunity. Farming. I'll talk about myself, but maybe now I can say I'm a farmer. There is so much potential. I mentioned earlier that Uganda has very good climate. We have 2 seasons of rainfall. We have very fertile grounds, and so the opportunity is immense. Agro-food processing. These are areas that are so untapped. There is so much opportunity to process food from here and export to the European Union, to export to South America, or even within Africa alone. But because of the capacity, you'll find that most foods are consumed at raw level. And so there is no value addition. And again, that's another area that we do not look into that area. That is another potential that you would benefit if you came to invest in this country. So much can be grown there. But that is, again, a topic for another day. What opportunities are there in agribusiness? How about information, communication, and telecom? Today, the world is going digital. There is so much to do that one can do in this country, and the government is enabling that, ranging from health, tourism, agriculture, education. The limit is limitless. Tourism. We are blessed with some of the best tourist sites in Africa, with several game areas, national parks. We have some of the best birds in the world, butterflies, the weather. There's so much to say, but again, opportunities are all there for you to come and invest in tourism, in hospitality trading, in construction of forest lodges, in running a tour company. So much is there to do. Health, where I belong, again, the opportunity is immense. And here I would invite anyone who would want to come and partner with me in the business. The potential is immense. The education sector, again, at the primary level, vocational opportunities, secondary opportunities, even at university level, what can you invest in? What are you good at that you think you can come and invest in? The service industry, under financial or insurance, all these opportunities that you can come and leverage in Uganda. We can talk about that on another day. I know that this is just the start of our network, and we are hoping that at another opportunity, we'll start breaking this into smaller sectors so that now we can delve into deeper. And when we are understanding what does it take for me to invest in agribusiness, the details cannot be exhausted in this meeting, but this is what we would love to do and share with investors out there. So HerGenuityAfrika, for us, we want to change the story. For those who are in diaspora, there is so much opportunity out there that you can still bring in Africa. I know that you can also invest wherever you are, whether it's in Ireland, whether it's in South Africa, wherever you are placed. And God has placed you there to do something. But what can you do here as well? Because I know many of us left our mother countries to go for opportunities out there. You can still bring back those opportunities to your mother country, because that is your mother country. What opportunities are there? For us, we are there to walk alongside the African woman in the community and the female entrepreneurs and ensure that they grow with us. And so I urge you to come and join us. Again, this is really me doing the other side of business. Like I said, I'm a farmer. I'm a fish farmer. I grow bananas. I am also a dairy farmer. And so investing in those areas, I would be willing to work alongside you. I also work in the community, like I said, in the health sector. So not only do I run a business, but I also support the community to grow alongside. I always remember Nelson Mandela, and I cannot quote him by words, but he was talking about what is the point of you having a good business and the people around you are not able to do anything. And I remember how he wanted to ensure that the people around him were also empowered. The businesses that I run, I don't do it alone. When we are growing bananas, I ensure that the suckers are distributed to the communities around so that they also grow their bananas, because one day they become suppliers and they stop looking at my bananas and looking at me as a rich woman, knowing that bananas will one day make them as wealthy as they could be. And so I'll end here, because today was only for me to share with you opportunities that are there in Uganda to come and invest in. I thank you so much for listening to me, and I welcome any questions and comments to what I have submitted now. Thank you, and back to you.
Thank you so much. That was
Praise.
very rich, quite informative, and highly motivating. So the floor is open. You can either unmute yourself to ask Hope any question that you have on her presentation on doing business in Uganda, or you can put it in the chat box and I'll read it for you. So it's over to you. So Hope, I have a question. There is two questions in one. So there is is it rumor? I've heard it before that if you are a foreigner, you can't open a business in Uganda without having a Ugandan as part of the business or owning a certain percentage of the business? That's one. And then the other question is, how long does it take to open a business in Uganda on the average?
The first question, it's not true that you cannot open your business alone without a Ugandan to partner with. Although government encourages that partnership to allow Ugandans to also learn from the foreign knowledge that is brought in, but you can set up your business here. And then the second question is, the time period is quite short now. I think the Uganda Investment Authority would from registration to getting your license to getting the permits to operate would take less than 2 months for you to get that done, unless there are areas that maybe you have not fulfilled completely. But the turnaround time has become very, very short because they are also encouraging businesses and investors to come into the country. So they have reduced that waiting time, the red tape, the corruption that sometimes investors have complained about. All that is being worked on. They may not be perfect by now, but again, this is where we want to come in and ensure that we stand with you and walk alongside with you. The offices that you may not be familiar with, we can support you and get your business registered in the area that you have come to address. Yeah.
Thank you, Hope. Thanks for that. So I have a question here from Sophie, and Sophie asks, who do you trust? I'm a British Ugandan, but always discouraged by people. They say my money will be stolen. That's Sophie's question comment.
Yes, and Sophie, a lot of people have had challenges setting up businesses when they are out there. It's true, not everybody is as honest as you'd want them to be. We want to change that trajectory. We want to be a little bit different to support, because at the end of it, if we support each other and businesses grow, then we would expect more people to come on board. What I think has been happening in the past is someone in the diaspora calls a relative, and then you know, money is something that people are needy, and sometimes they are not honest with that. And I've had that said to, told to me before, you don't trust Ugandans. They'll eat your money. You send money to build a house, you find there's nothing there. And that's something we don't want to be like that, because at the end of it, what is the point of running a business? We want to be a bit different from that. We want to be able to support you. How are you going to handle the money? We find ways that it's more transparent. If you're opening an account, let it be transparent. Now it's probably even easier with technology. Nowadays, if it's payment, someone should send you the payment slip immediately. If you send $1,000 to register, immediately send the $1,000 receipt to show that you have actually paid. So transparency is important in gaining trust. Transparency is important. And I think that is, for me, that's really what matters. We need to be open with each other. Where it's not working, let the investor know that we can't continue with this because of problem A, B, and C, and discuss a new avenue. If it's need for more money, then how can we, probably tell the investor that this did not work out because the payment was too low. But sometimes people are not honest and they keep delaying with response, and you're out there not knowing what is going on. And I think those are the things that we don't need to work on. Yeah, and I hope I have been able to answer your question. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sophie. So are there any questions we have? please, we will really be appreciative. We'll really thank you if you help us grow our network. Please like and share our Facebook, our YouTube channel. When you do get there, we have lots of videos there that can really help you. And also there's our Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and LinkedIn accounts. Please do connect with us via these platforms. Okay, are there any questions? I have another question. Oh, so I know that there are some high growth industries in Uganda, and I know you've mentioned them: Agri, food processing, what else? ICT and the likes. How much expertise is on the ground? Because if I'm coming in as somebody from the diaspora and I haven't done business in Agri before, I'm not a farmer and all of that, how much expertise will I have access to? And will there be somebody on ground to help me, to work with, to hold my hand through the process?
Okay, thank you. I'll give you an example in agriculture. Assuming you wanted to go into dairy business and you need expertise in setting up a dairy farm, the Ministry of Agriculture has a team of experts, and sometimes we call them veterinary extension officers, who can support you in setting up a dairy farm and monitor your farm to completion. At every level, there are experts, be it at the ICT level, be it at agricultural, be it even in health.
Yeah.
There are experts that can support you.
Yeah.
And so what is your niche? What is it that you want to come and set up? That is the area that you come out openly to express. Now, for example, it's a dairy farm that I just gave an example in. You want to open up a dairy farm. What do you need? Is it semen? Where are you getting semen for your animals?
Okay.
Who are the people on ground who will constantly come and check on your animals to ensure the cows are being taken care of in the best way? The expertise is there. At all levels. I believe there's expertise. Unless now your business is very unique and you're really bringing something different that you believe would sell in Uganda. But you wanted to say something.
Yes. No, you've answered me. I just wanted to know if I know that HerGenuity has you on ground, but would you be available? I know that Atineke has a question as well. Would you be available to support those who are coming in terms of even viewing what's on ground? Because we're hoping to bring a group of women to Uganda later on in the year.
Yes. And that's the whole idea about what we are talking about. An investor coming in Uganda, where do you start from? Who do you go to? And I think this is where we start from and say, we are here to set you up from the start from the beginning to the start of your business, right from how to register your business, where to register your business, what business do you want to register? Because sometimes you might be having mixed ideas. What kind of business do you want to register? Will it work?
Okay.
Because you're coming with your thousands of dollars or pounds, and you're not sure that you want this business to grow. This is where we want to help you to ensure that your business should be able to grow to the level that you had planned over the period that you want to be here. So we'll link you up to the different agencies that helps you set up this business. We'll support you right from the time you arrive to the time you are established.
Okay.
Who are the partners that you can work with if you need partnership? If you need financial resources, who can we go to? So those are the areas that we will be linking you up to and ensure that you have somewhere to, you have somewhere to hold on to when you are new in a country.
Excellent. Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you. So, Coach, that's okay. Over to you, please.
Much for this session. I was away for a few minutes, so I'm not sure if my question have actually been answered. I just want to appreciate Hope for coming on board and, giving us all this information about Uganda. I've never been to Uganda, but I really, really hope I'll be there one of these days. My question is more or less a follow-up to what Toluwani have asked, my Dr. Toluwani have asked about the business in Uganda. I'm just asking for someone that just wants to come and do a business. Maybe I don't have a niche. I just want to know the areas or sectors that are quite lucrative to do businesses in Uganda, especially for foreigners, and that you will have more or less a peace of mind as well. Definitely, we know that you're on ground for us, but I know for each countries, they have different sectors where the businesses are quite lucrative. So if you can just tell us maybe a summary of some, and then maybe we can go and do more research on them and decide on which one we'll really lean towards if we eventually want to come around.
Of course, it depends on how much you want to invest. That will determine. Then the other thing is your passion. Sometimes I can direct you to energy, and that's really not what you want. But now the lucrative businesses are in the area of infrastructure, construction. That's a very lucrative area. We have a growing population. Our population growth rate is estimated at around 4.5%. That means we are growing exponentially. We have a very youthful population, but very high fertility. I think we are probably the second after Niger, so that itself calls for need for, housing and stuff like that. The other area that I can look at is also tourism. Tourism is also a very lucrative business, and in all areas, it's a business that I'm currently also engaged in, but the potential is quite immense. And then agriculture. For now, let me not go into too many because some of them may have small pockets of niches in there, but those three areas I believe are really lucrative, and anyone who's really interested in those areas could make some good money out there. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Hope. Thank you so much for your time this morning. We have just about 3 minutes to go. And I would like to ask if there's anybody that has any comment or any other question, you can please unmute yourself and ask. One thing I would say is this is okay, yeah, actually, okay, thank you very much. This is a taster. And we're going to have other people come to talk about doing business. To be honest with you, Africa is the future of the world. I'm not saying that because I'm African. I'm saying it because it's true. We have, as Hope says, we have 60% of the population in Africa is under 25. that means that we as Africans will definitely be leading the global workforce in another few years. Talk about 2030, 2040, 2050. Africans would be at the forefront of the global workforce because we have the youth that the world needs. What we want to beg our governments to do is to keep equipping our young people with the skills and competencies that allow them to be really competitive in the global front when it comes to labor. The second thing is that Africa is growing as not just Uganda, as an exponential rate. By 2050, will be about 2 billion. And a lot of these people are in urbanized areas. So infrastructure is definitely one to invest in. And where you have good security system, security strategy within that country, tourism definitely is one that can be gainsaid. So this working with HerGenuity and our representative, our ambassadors on the ground really is tied to membership. So we are encouraging people that are interested in what we have to offer through our ambassadors, our reps in different African countries like Uganda, like Hope is, to contact us or talk to me or talk to Coach Atinoke, who's one of the directors. Talk to us and let us see how we can help you. But we need a commitment of membership first, because that is one of the ways in which you let us know that you are serious about a future that is growth-centered, growth-focused. So please connect with us on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on Instagram, and on Twitter, wherever you do social media. Please connect with us. Thank you so much. Hope, I want to say thank you on behalf of everyone in HerGenuity, the board, the management, everyone. Thank you so much for your time today. As I said, I've known Hope for 14 years and she's never disappointed. So I know that I can tell you that she's somebody that you can trust when it comes to supporting you in business. So thank you so much for being here. You can stay back if you so desire to network, grow your network through this venue. I know we are few in the room, or rather through this platform. I know we are few in the room, but numbers don't matter when somebody that has something to give you is in the room, and you never know. You never know. I always say you could be, and I've heard it said, you could be 4 handshakes, 5. In fact, I think I'm maybe 1 handshake away from shaking the hands with President Museveni, because Hope is in the room. So, say Bukola is in the room now. Maybe 3 handshakes away from the handshake with President Tinubu. So you never know who's in the room and the doors that person can be open, may be able to open for you to take you and your business to the next level. So on that note, I'm going to stop the recording, and I want to say thank you once again.
Thank you.
Recording stop. Okay.